What would it feel like to be truly, deeply happy, regardless of your circumstances? Did you know that happiness is a choice and not a result? That you can create your life on purpose? Join us now to learn more. This is the Time to Rise and Thrive radio show. And here's your host, mindset coach, and facilitator of change, Jackie Mott.
Hello and happy Friday. Welcome to Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. We are actually shooting our second TV episode today, which is very exciting and also kind of freaky. Yeah, so you are listening and watching Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. I am your host, Jackie Mott of Phoenix Coaching in London, Ontario, Canada. And I'm excited to be with you today, as always. Today's show is called Personal Connection, Community, and Tribe. And we are going to be talking about the importance of establishing a tribe in your life. And if you don't know what that means, stick with me because we're going to talk about all of that. So on Time to Rise and Thrive, we talk about our subliminal soundtrack. We talk about how it affects us, where it comes from, and how we can make it work for us instead of against us. Seeing your unique beauty and value, and honest to God, guys, how many places can you go and hear about your unique beauty and value? Kind of yummy, right? And recognizing the contribution you are to this world. And make no mistake, good or bad, you are a contribution to the people in your world. You are a contribution to the places that you go and the energy all around you. So you get to choose. You get to choose whether or not that's going to be a positive contribution or a negative contribution. And yeah, that's something that I've actually been thinking a lot about lately, but that is not today's show. That will be another show. So we'll stay on track today, or we'll try anyway. So do you have a tribe? Personal connection is something that we all need, but it's become more difficult to achieve in this day and age, hasn't it? You know, everything's so virtual and stuff like that. We don't have the same sort of community around us that we would have had in years past. We live in a digital world where connecting with others is often done virtually through video calls, text messages, and through social media. That's why it's so important to be purposeful in establishing your tribe and meeting your needs for personal connection. Our tribe is the people in our world who see us, all of us, in all of our glory and all of our flawed imperfection, and accept and love us exactly as we are. Do you have people like that in your life? I do. And I'm so very blessed, but I've also been very purposeful in creating that. And that is what we were going to talk about today. So our subliminal soundtrack, really quickly before we get to the content of the show, our subliminal soundtrack is really about this idea that we have ideas playing in the back of our head 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So it's like these messages that go on all the time, and they influence every area of our life. You know, they influence our relationship with our money, our relationship with our spouse, and with all of the other people in our lives. It influences what we believe we are able to do or unable to do, what we're capable of, how we feel about ourselves, what we feel we deserve. It influences every area of our lives. So it is very important for us to get some clarity on what is going on in the back of our heads 24 hours a day, and how that's influencing our lives. You know, in some cases, it's influencing things in a very positive way. I was having a conversation with a friend the other day, and we were talking about some of these things that had happened when we were children. And she said to me, you know, in this case, it really has impacted my life in a positive way. It's pushed me toward something positive. And in that case, I don't know, do you really want to change it? If it's pushed you to do better and to achieve more and to have a more positive life experience, even if it started out as a negative message or a negative experience, maybe we don't need to change that, right? Because this is all about creating those messages that will propel us towards success in whatever areas of our lives. It's not about getting into a place of judgment where we say, oh, that was a bad thing, and therefore we need to change how we be with that, how we perceive it. It's not about that. It's about creating those messages, being conscious of what they're saying, and, you know, moving forward in the direction of what we do choose. So that's what your subliminal soundtrack is. That's how it affects us. So in the case of this area of like community and tribe that we're going to be talking about today, if we believe that we can go it alone, that we can't trust people, because they always let us down, or that we don't need anyone else, we are going to attract to us the people and the situations that will let us down. We are going to attract the people that we can't trust and the people who won't be a contribution to us and to our lives. But if we believe that people are generally good, for the most part, people are good, that our tribe supports, appreciates, and loves us, that we can get more done when we have a community or a tribe of people that are working together, then we are going to attract those people into our world, the people that will support and love us and appreciate us in all of our glory, right? Even in those places that we look at and we say, oh my God, that's not very pretty, but they see it anyway. They see it and they love us because they know who we are, right? That is your tribe. That is how we determine who our tribe is made up of. Are they the people who see us in all of our flawed beauty, or are they the people that we have to hide from? We have to hide behind a mask. We can't actually show up in our worlds being our true selves. That's how we determine who our tribe actually is in this life. So once again, go to phoenixcoach.ca, phoenixcoach.ca, and download your free copy of 3 Easy Ways to Reset Your Subliminal Soundtrack. And that will give you some information about what the subliminal soundtrack is and how you can go about determining those messages and changing the ones that are not serving you. So that's how that whole subliminal soundtrack works. So our first quote of the day. Now, the first couple that I've got here are anonymous, unfortunately. This one says, a connection is the energy that exists between two people when they feel seen, heard, and valued, when they can give and receive without judgment, and when they derive sustenance and strength from the relationship. So how beautiful is that, right? And does it not describe that? I'm going to ask you to really be with your relationships as we go through today's show, because it's really important for us to get clear on. And I want to be really clear when I talk about this. I'm not asking you to throw people out of your lives. I'm not asking you to do that at all, unless that's what serves you. And in that case, it's up to you. But there are some relationships that we just need to be conscious of what they really are, particularly in situations where there's like, for example, a work relationship or certain obligations that are required of that relationship. Sometimes it's not so easy to get out of that, right? And also, if we're clear on what that relationship is and how it serves us, then it can give us a little bit more space and a little bit more peace sometimes. I was thinking a lot last night about this statement. I think it was Oprah that I heard it from, but I'm not sure where it came from before that. It was, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. So we don't always have to get all warm and fuzzy and close and yummy space with everybody in our life. We don't need to do that all the time. Sometimes we need to know that, okay, so this relationship serves me because it does these things. And then we start to put the boundaries in place. That give us that safety, that allow us to trust in the way that we need to be able to trust to engage. So the truth of the matter is, you absolutely can have a life without a tribe in it. But here's the thing. There are things that we will never experience unless we allow other people into our world. There's a certain flavor that each person brings to our space, to our world with them, right? Think about that for a second. Those people that you just have so much fun. You just have so much fun with them. You laugh, you belly laugh, you say silly things, you do silly things. And then there are the other people that you feel warm and safe and comfortable and all of that kind of stuff, right? So being with those different relationships, each one of those people will bring a different flavor to our experience than we would have without them. And that's the thing, right? That's the thing. So we can do it on our own, most of us. Um, but how much do we lose? How much do we lose out on if we do not include other people into our experience and into our world? So what it means to have a tribe, in my humble opinion, and you could probably find so much information about this online, but in my humble opinion, your tribe are made up of the people, like I said, who see you, who love you. Um, they're the people who support you when things get really hard. I, when I was going through the breakup a couple years ago, and I was trying to figure out this being a different way in my world, those were the people that kind of saved me. Those are the people that saved me. They threw me the lifelines, and sometimes the lifeline was literally, I know who you are, and I'm not gonna let you forget it. I'm gonna remind you who you are to me and in my world, because I think that you're getting lost in those dark spaces with the sharp edges. Sometimes it was a call, hey, I'm thinking about you. How you doing? There's so many different ways that our tribe can contribute to our world, but the fact of the matter is that they will contribute to us. They will be the people that will grab us by the back of the pants and pull us up. They're the ones that will kick our ass when we need someone to kick our ass. They are the ones who will stand beside us and walk beside us as we go through the challenges and the tough things that life brings, because there is no avoiding that at some point, it could be you lose a job, you lose a relationship, you lose something that is incredibly important. When my sister died, same thing. I needed my people to surround me and boost me up to get me back on my feet. I needed those people to show up, and they did. Thank God they did. Thank God that I have this tribe of people in my world who are so supportive and just love me. You can find these people all over the place, right? You can find them, if you're lucky like me, you have some really old friends that have been in your world since you were young. I don't know if I've got 3 or 4 of them that I've known since at least mid-teens. And they're my guys, man. They are my core of my tribe. Um, they have seen me go through everything. They've seen me go through the pregnancy. They've seen me go through the, young mom, the all of that, getting an education, working my way through my career. They saw in relationship, out of relationship, like all of it, right? But there are other people that are, also part of my core unit that I have met later in life. I've got a friend that lives in one of the cities that we had lived in for a while, and her and I talk almost every day. She is one of my dearest, closest friends. And I'm sorry, Jen says you're no matter what people, and it's exactly right. It's exactly right. They are the people. And for me, the big test, I'll tell you, the big test for me is who can make me laugh when my whole world is falling apart? Who can, allow me the space to cry and feel what I need to feel, and then knows that for me to pull myself out, I have got to laugh. Who is the person that can do that? Can go months without connecting, and they will still be there on a dime. Yes, Jen, that's absolutely right. Absolutely right. So it's also a bit fluid, right? This whole idea of tribe is a bit fluid, because there are the people that come into your world right now. And what is that saying? They come into your world for a reason, a season, a lifetime, I think is how it goes. And we go in and out of each other's worlds, and sometimes we're only meant to be there for a short time. Sometimes we're meant to be there for a long time. Sometimes we are meant to be there for all time. And it takes time as we build these relationships, and we're going to talk about some of the sort of cornerstones of having these types of relationships with our tribe. We're going to talk about some of that as we go further into the show, but we sort of learn to trust these people over time, right? We sort of learn to the vet, we vet people. It's one of those things where if we don't allow them to get at least a little bit close, we will never see whether or not they are going to be able to get closer. I was talking with another friend of mine on the weekend. We went for a drive, and she was talking about somebody who's a fairly recent addition into her life. And she said to me, I don't know if I really want, to bring this person into my core tribe, because I feel like I've got a really solid group there right now. And I said, yeah, I would agree. I mean, I know most of them. I would agree you've got a really solid tribe, but maybe this person could bring something into your life that you're not going to have without them. So I don't know. You've got to make these decisions, right? But there's a bit of fluidity in your tribe. There's some people that come in for a time, they're going to go. And then somebody else is going to show up, and maybe they're going to be the best friend in the world to you for a time. Or maybe it's going to be a new love relationship or a new working relationship, whatever it is. But we need to sort of have this idea that it's going to be a bit fluid, and that's okay. It's okay for people to come and go in our world, because that's just the way things go, right? So we are going to go to our next quote here, and then we're going to head to our next break. Our first break, actually. It says, a true community is not just about being geographically close to someone or part of the same social web network. It's about feeling connected and responsible for what happens. Humanity is our ultimate community, and everyone plays a crucial role. Absolutely true. Okay, so we're going to head to our first break. You are listening and watching Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. I'm your host, Jackie Mott. When we come back, we are going to talk more about creating a strong, supportive tribe who see us in all of our glory and all of our imperfection and love us anyway. We will be right back.
What do you tell yourself when you're not listening? This question came to Jackie Mott when she was trying to find peace and purpose in the wake of tragedy. She began to understand that a lot of her pain and choices had been the result of how she perceived herself and her place in the world. And she set about creating a new subliminal soundtrack that would support her in creating a life of abundance, joy, and fulfillment. To learn more about how she did that and how you can do the same, join Jackie on her radio show, Time to Rise and Thrive, every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Central, 11 a.m. Mountain, and 10 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is Time to Rise and Thrive radio show with mindset coach and facilitator of change, Jackie Mott. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, Canada 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. For more information, visit phoenixcoach.ca, where you can follow Phoenix Coaching online. Now back to the program.
Hello and welcome back to Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. I'm your host, Jackie Mott, and today we are talking about creating a strong, supportive tribe who see us in all of our glory and all of our imperfection. I can't even say that today. And love us anyway, just the way we are. Isn't that amazing? It's just such an amazing thing to have these people and know that we have these people. It's such an amazing thing. So our next quote is from Will Packer. I found this one really interesting when I found it online today. It says, there's nothing more important than having a personal connection with your audience. Right? And that made me think about some stuff. I was thinking about, like TV stars, radio show hosts, comedians, and people who write and people who do like interviews, all of it, musicians, all of these artists, right? If we feel a personal connection with them, either through their presentation, through their work. It's so important for us to see that, because if we don't feel that connection, like think about those song lyrics that just pull you out of a bad mood or make you think about somebody that you love or whatever it is, right? It's the lyric that we're connecting to, but it's also the delivery of the lyric that we're connecting to. It's so very important for us to feel that connection, and the best people out there who are presenters or performers, the very best of them connect deeply with their audience members. If you think about like a concert or something like that, how often do you see the singer go out, right to the edge of the stage or out into the audience and shake people's hands, or, sit down and have a conversation with one of the attendees, one of the audience members, right? Aren't those the ones that we feel the closest to? Aren't they the ones that we love the most, that we want to hear what they have to say the most, right? So it's that kind of stuff. The connection, that personal connection, is so important. There was a study that I read about a couple years ago, and I think it was baby monkeys. They had taken orphaned baby monkeys and put them into cages, right? And in one cage, they put a fake, like a stuffed monkey. Do you know what I mean? They put this fake stuffed monkey to act as mama. And that particular baby monkey did really well. It thrived. The other monkeys that didn't have that, they did not do well. It is a physiological and psychological need for us to have connection with other human beings. It's so very important for us to do that. So that's what we're talking about today, right? So let me ask you to think about the people that you surround yourself with. And I am going to talk more about in our personal life, because in our work, sometimes we really have no choice about who we interact with or who we are required to interact with. So I want to really take this into our personal life. Think about the relationships that you have with the people that you are closest to. You feel that deep connection, and sometimes it's so amazing to me, because sometimes there's the person that you meet and it's like that, it's instantaneous. You feel like, man, I have known this person my entire life. I feel safe with them. I feel like I just feel like I can be completely myself with this person. It does happen. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen, right? Pay attention to those kinds of things. So the best relationships, in my humble opinion, the very best relationships that we have in our lives are the ones where we don't have to censor ourselves. People who don't care how I look. I can show up, I can say whatever I need to say, however I say it. And I have been known periodically to say things incorrectly. You know how that happens once in a while, right? You say things incorrectly. The right people know. They know exactly what you're saying. They know exactly what you meant and how you meant it. And you don't have to worry about offending those people. You don't have to worry about them judging you. They know who you are. So when you show up and you say the wrong thing, they know that it's not what it maybe sounds like. Now, the really best people, they will correct you. They will correct you gently. They will love you. They will love you enough to say, wait a second, that was not really cool. That was not really cool. But they don't do it from the standpoint of picking up the stick and beating you over the head with it. They do it from a correction place of, hey, I didn't feel very good when you said that. That not cool for me, right? But they don't come at it from a place of, you're so bad and you're so wrong, and all of that stuff. I feel like I could go off on some sort of like crazy tangent today, so I'm going to try to rein it in before I do that, because that just wouldn't be fun for anybody probably, right? So think about those people that you feel the most comfortable with. Are they your family? Are they your friends? Are they, like, who are they in your world? And I think that, like, I know people that have this all over the place. I know some people who are so close with their family members that, their family member is really a very dear friend, and they are so blessed. They are so blessed, right? And also, we're going to talk in the next segment a little bit more about intimacy, this idea of intimacy. Yes, it's kind of one of those weird subjects, but we're going to talk about that in our next segment. But the thing of it is that people get a different flavor of us, don't they? Like, depending on who you are, depending on what role you play in my world, sometimes depending on how long you have played that role in my world, right? The thing of it is we don't get to a certain point in life without having been hurt. We don't get to a certain point in life without having experienced betrayal. And that is unfortunately the thing that can stop us from allowing other people to get close to us in the future, from allowing the people to truly deeply connect with us, is because of the pain that we've already experienced, right? There's a certain amount of trust required for us to have these deep connections with other people. But I also want to challenge that thought process because, there's this thing that I've read. It says that a bird doesn't trust the branch not to break, or something to that effect. The bird trusts her own wings, right? So it's so very important for us to get this solid foundation in our world, the solid foundation in our world, where we know who we are, we know what we bring to the table, we know our value, we know our beauty, we know our all of those sorts of things. It's so very important for us to have that solid foundation, because number one, it requires us to be a little bit more careful and conscious about who we let close to us, right? Number two, though, it also means that if we're not as careful, or if somebody's a really good fake, because, like, God knows that happens once in a while too, right? If they do get close and then something happens and we end up hurt, it's easier for us to bounce back. It's easier for us to get back on our feet when we have that solid foundation to start from. So it's very, very important for us to get clear on all of this subliminal soundtrack stuff. And who are we bringing into our world? Are we bringing into our world the people who will see us and appreciate and love us? Or are we bringing into our world the people who just want to use us for whatever it is that they need from us, and then they're going to walk away? Very, very, very important for us to get clear on all of that stuff, because we want to bring the healthy relationships and the people who are going to allow the healthy relationships, allow that connection and closeness to come. We want to bring those people into our world. It's very hard sometimes to connect with other people because they've got their walls up. And when we get talking about this whole idea of intimacy, we're going to talk about bringing down those walls. Hard to do. It is hard to do. I also want to talk just briefly about this idea that we can't truly love someone else unless we can love ourselves. And I feel like that it's not untrue. It's not untrue. And yet, I'm not sure that it's true either. It's kind of weird, right? Yeah. Yeah. So for a long time, I had a lot of trouble seeing my value and my beauty and all of those sorts of things that I talk about. And that's why I talk about this, because it was a difficult thing for me to come to. And it took a long time for me to get there, right? But I promise you, I loved my son with every ounce of my heart from the moment that he arrived on this planet, if not before. I loved him with every piece of my heart. So I was capable of doing that, even though I didn't really know and appreciate and love myself. But again, we're going to talk about flavor, because once you get to a point where you do start to see all of those amazing things, all of those beautiful things about you. Once you get there, you love differently. You love differently because you love from a space of knowing and acknowledging and accepting. There's no judgment in this, and this unconditional love thing, it's unconditional. If I have to earn my place in your world, to a certain degree, yes. To a certain degree, yes, because there are some non-negotiables, right? But if I have to earn my place in your world and earn your love for me, it is not love. It is not love. So love is unconditional. And when I can approach that from the place of, I love myself, I see myself, I understand and appreciate myself, then I bring to the table a space that is able to accommodate you in all of your flawed perfection in a different way. Do you understand what I'm saying? Does that make any sense? We can approach it from a different space where it's like, wow, okay, I see you, I get you. You don't have to be anything other than who and what you are. And I know that we will be a contribution to each other. And if we can't come to that place, then we can't have a relationship. And I think that's the difference, right? Because we have to both be able to be a contribution to each other once I know my value. Once I understand what I bring to the table, I'm going to require that when you come to my table, you bring something too. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's the shift for me. That's the shift. I can love somebody with my whole heart without being able to love myself. But when I can love myself and love from that place, then the flavor of love and contribution that I can give is different. Yeah. So Paul J. Meyer said this. He said, communication, can you see that? The human connection is the key to personal and career success. Communication, the human connection, is the key to personal and career success. Interesting. All right, so we're going to head to our next break. You are listening and watching Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. I'm your host, Jackie Mott, and when we come back, we are going to continue our conversation about creating a strong, supportive tribe who can see us in all of our glory and all of our imperfection and love us anyway. See you in a minute.
What do you tell yourself when you're not listening? This question came to Jackie Mott when she was trying to find peace and purpose in the wake of tragedy. She began to understand that a lot of her pain and choices had been the result of how she perceived herself and her place in the world. And she set about creating a new subliminal soundtrack that would support her in creating a life of abundance, joy, and fulfillment. To learn more about how she did that and how you can do the same, join Jackie on her radio show, Time to Rise and Thrive, every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Central, 11 a.m. Mountain, and 10 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
What do you tell yourself when you're not listening? Our subliminal soundtrack plays in the back of our minds 24/7. It's filled with everything we've ever learned about money, relationships, body, and sexuality, about every single aspect of our lives. If you don't have what you desire, the Subliminal Soundtrack Reset program may be the very key to changing it all. In this 8-week program, designed by Jackie Mott, you'll learn to replace messages that stop your desires with new ones that not only support you in creating what you truly desire, but expand your life to higher levels of joy and pleasure. Go to phoenixcoach.ca today to sign up and begin creating your life on purpose.
This is Time to Rise and Thrive radio show with mindset coach and facilitator of change, Jackie Mott. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, Canada 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. For more information, visit phoenixcoach.ca, where you can follow Phoenix Coaching online. Now back to the program.
Welcome back to Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. I'm your host, Jackie Mott. And now it's time for me to tell you about what's going on in my world. There's some really cool stuff going on in my world. So I've been talking about the Subliminal Soundtrack Reset Program, and the beta group will be launching in the very near future. So that's good news, because that means that we are coming close to the time when I will be releasing that to the public. Couple of other things. I have been asked to be the chairperson for a chapter of Powerful Women Today in London, Ontario. And they've been, I don't even know what cities they're in now, but I know they're in Toronto and down in Arizona. Yeah, it's a pretty big thing. It's a pretty big thing. So I don't have all of the details on that, but that's going to be coming in the very near future. And I'm very excited about that. Powerful Women Today is very much about helping women achieve empowerment and financial independence and all kinds of great, yummy stuff. So I'm very excited about that. I can't wait until that gets going. I will let you know more as I get closer to that. The other thing I want to talk about today is I had an idea. I was working on a project the other day, and I just love it when we get into our flow, you know. So I had an idea about something. So I'm going to be doing a little bit more thinking about this, but I think that we are going to have a master class that's going to start probably in November. It might be in December. I'm going to do it. I don't have to think about it actually, but it's just a matter of working out all the details. But it's going to be called the Monthly Mindset Masterclass. And so we're going to have a 1 hour masterclass once a month. And I'm not sure on the day. For some reason, I'm going to Monday evening, first Monday evening of the month. But we are going to have a monthly mindset masterclass where there will be a specific topic. There will be, worksheets and handouts and stuff like that. I may even create some sort of Facebook community so people can stay in touch. But that one is still in the very early stages. I need to give it a little bit more thought, but that will be coming in the near future. So that's the kind of stuff that's going on in my world. It's kind of exciting. It's really kind of exciting. I'm loving things. So, I'm having a lot of fun. So now we are going, find us on Facebook. Find us on Facebook and like the page or follow the page or whatever it is that you need to do, because that is where you're going to see most of the updates as they come available. Okay. So find us on Facebook and keep an eye there for announcements. And now we are going to get back to today's show: personal connection, community, and tribe. And we're talking about creating a strong, supportive tribe who see us in all of our glory and all of our imperfection and love us anyway. So our next quote is by Rachel Naomi Remen. It says, the most basic and powerful way to connect to another person is to listen. Just listen. Perhaps the most important thing we ever give each other is our attention. A loving silence often has far more power to heal and to connect than the most well-intentioned words. I learned that from my nanny. So my nanny was my grandmother. She moved in. If you haven't heard the story, I'm not going to go far into it, but I was quite sick when I was born. And she moved in with my family when I was very small in order to help with, the extra workload that needed to happen. So she was my second mom. She was my biggest fan. She was so many wonderful things in my world. And I learned this from her because she was so very good. Like, she just put on a pot of tea. You come home, school had been crap, something had gone wrong, somebody had been mean, whatever. And you'd come home and she would throw on a pot of tea and you would sit down and she would just let you talk for as long as you needed to. If it was a really big conversation, she'd usually pull out the crib board and the cards, and you'd have a game or two of crib, and you'd just drink as much tea as you needed to work through the problem. Most of the time, she didn't say a lot. Most of the time, she just held that space and allowed you to talk through what you needed to get through. So I learned that lesson quite early, and I miss her sometimes. There have been lots of times when I've thought, man, I wish I could have a cup of tea with Nanny. Really do, but it is what it is. So now I would like to talk about finding these people and how we establish these relationships to make it actually about connection and tribe and love and support and appreciation and contribution and all of that stuff. So how do we find these people? And, I think I'm just really lucky. I think I'm just really lucky and really blessed, because this stuff, it hasn't come hard to me. It has been something that it seems to be pretty natural. And I've always had a pretty good radar in most of my relationships, not so much in the romantic sense. But in in most of my relationships, I've always had a pretty good radar on who was safe and who was not. So my friends are solid, man. They are solid. They are ride or die, that ride or die thing. Yeah. They would be beside me in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat, they will be there. So we can find them anywhere, we can find them through friends. We can find them in classes or at work or any number of different places. But, if we could tap into finding a group of people that are like-minded, and that's really important. It's really important when we're talking about tribe. It's really important to find those people that have similar beliefs, similar interests, similar ideas about things, because what will happen if we don't is that we end up butting heads sometimes a lot more than we do, agreeing on things or enjoying each other's company. Because, well, and maybe there are people out there who enjoy butting heads. I am not particularly one of them, but I'm not saying that there are debate teams, right? Debate teams. Let's argue it out. Let's fight it out, right? It can be about anything, though. Like some of the things that I put down on my list when I was creating the outline today was things like common interests or beliefs. So that could be some sort of group that you like, maybe dancing, dance classes or things like that, or church, or any place like that. Joining some sort of community. There was a group a few years ago here in London. It was called Mo Mondays. It was called Mo Mondays, and man, the ladies that were running that, they were brilliant at creating this sense of community. And I mean hundreds of people, right? Hundreds of people, but they were so good at it. And you would walk in the door. I would walk in the door, and I had so many people that wanted to stop for a moment and hug me and talk to me. And doesn't that feel wonderful? Doesn't it feel wonderful when people are like, "Oh, Jackie's here. Oh my God, Jackie's here. How are you doing? I can't wait. I've been waiting to see you. Whatever, right? Doesn't it feel amazing when you walk into a space and people are like, oh my God, I'm so glad to see you. That's the thing that we need. That's the thing that we need sometimes to boost us up when the rest of the world gets a little bit hard to be in, right? So we had this thing called Mo Mondays, and there was a monthly meeting, and we would go, and it was just fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. Those women knew how to build a tribe, or community, I'm sorry. So now I want to talk about this idea of intimacy. So intimacy is not really at all about sex, not even a little bit. I mean, that's how people can express it sometimes, is through sexual intimacy, but intimacy is so much more than that. It's so much more. And building trust is essential to achieving intimacy with anybody. And intimacy is essential to building a tribe and a community, because we have to be able to find that interactive, connected space where we work together, right? And we can find that all over the place. So what I wrote this morning was, true intimacy is not about sex. It's about sharing a space where everyone can show up and drop their masks and their walls and just be who they truly are. It's about safety and comfort, no judgment, no requirement to be anything other than exactly who we are. It's about acknowledging, seeing, and honoring ourselves and others. Isn't that lovely? You know, it, it's so lovely when you can get into this space where you feel safe, where you feel like you can drop all of your guards, and it doesn't matter who it's with. Maybe it's with a group of people. Maybe it's with a close friend or a family member, but where we can just literally show up and people are happy to see us. It doesn't matter what we look like. It doesn't matter anything. People are just happy to see us. That's your tribe, my friends. It can be really scary. This intimacy space can be very scary. We have been hurt. We have been hurt. We have been taught that we need to protect ourselves. And we have to become vulnerable and have courage in order to achieve true intimacy. And then, I started to think about this and I was like, why do I even want people in my world who I cannot achieve that deep level of intimacy with? Why do I want them in my world? What do they contribute to my world? So we become more discerning. We become more discerning about who we bring into our world, who we allow into our world, and what we allow, like what role we allow them to play, how much importance we give to them. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's where the real deep, juicy intimacy lives. And that requires us to become vulnerable and to show our soft belly. It can be kind of scary. But if we want to have that flavor that can only come from those experiences that we can have with other people, then we've got to be brave enough and have the courage to do that, scary or not. And trust your own wings, my friends, because when you trust your own wings, it doesn't matter. None of it matters. You've got this. All right, our next quote, also anonymous. It says, I miss having heart-to-heart conversations. Nowadays, it's just merely a chat. I miss personal conversations with people who are real with me, telling each other secrets, laughing about inside jokes. The conversations that no one else understands but the person in you. What happened to the special conversations, the one that would last all night long, make you tired in the morning but bring a smile on your face that lasts all day? I'd much rather have one person to have that kind of conversation with than a million friends that only stay to chat with me for a few minutes. Don't you love that? I do. All right, we're going to head to our next break. You are listening and watching Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. I'm your host, Jackie Mott. And when we come back, we are going to continue our conversation about creating a strong, supportive tribe who see us in all of our glory and all of our imperfection and love us anyway. We'll be right back.
What do you tell yourself when you're not listening? This question came to Jackie Mott when she was trying to find peace and purpose in the wake of tragedy. She began to understand that a lot of her pain and choices had been the result of how she perceived herself and her place in the world. And she set about creating a new subliminal soundtrack that would support her in creating a life of abundance, joy, and fulfillment. To learn more about how she did that and how you can do the same, join Jackie on her radio show, Time to Rise and Thrive, every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Central, 11 a.m. Mountain, and 10 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. This is Time to Rise and Thrive radio show with mindset coach and facilitator of change, Jackie Mott. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, Canada 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. For more information, visit phoenixcoach.ca, where you can follow Phoenix Coaching online. Now back to the program.
Hello and welcome back to Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. I'm your host, Jackie Mott, and today we are talking about creating a strong, supportive tribe who see us in all of our glory and all of our imperfection and love us anyway. So this next quote, I'm definitely going to show you this one because this one's so pretty. Look at that. Look at that. It's by Paul Ryan. It says, every successful individual knows that his or her achievement depends on a community of persons working together. Community of persons working together. We can accomplish so much more when we tap into other people's talents, when we tap into other people's gifts, when we surround ourselves with a group of people who are like-minded and who have a goal in mind, right? Even when you put two people together who are thinking about the same thing, don't we accomplish more? Don't we accomplish more in the same amount of time? And I think I read something about this being exponential. The more people that we can bring into it, the more we are going to get accomplished, right? That's why some places, some businesses need to have such large organizations, is because they need so many people to get the work done, right? So one of the things that I really was thinking about this morning when I was thinking about this whole idea of community is there's an idea that I heard about a long time ago that we are the combined average of the 5 people with whom we spend the most time. So it's important for us to be really conscious of who do we spend our time with, because we really do influence people. Think about this. It's not even hard to come up with an example where, you've got the person that every time you see them, you just are like, oh my God, this is so great. I get to spend time with so-and-so. I get to spend time with them. We laugh, we joke, we have fun, we play, whatever. Or that person that you're like, I know everybody's got to have at least one of those people that you're just like, oh, God, help me, get me through this, right? And what a different space. So when we are creating our tribe, it's very important for us to be conscious of who we're bringing in and what kinds of attitudes, what kind of beliefs, what kinds of, like, how do they be? How do they be? Do they come in and bring us up, or do they come in and suck the life out of us and make us feel tired and just used up by the time we're done? It's very, very important. So when we are building this tribe, we need to be purposeful, especially if we're coming at it from a place of, for example, business. Very, very, very important. Surround yourself in your business with people who have already achieved the things that you are working toward and achieved them successfully. And they're good at showing you how they did that. They're willing to show you how they did that. Surround yourself in your business with the successful people who can help you to develop more skills, more, what's the word that I'm looking for? They can help you become more of what you need to be in that role. They can help you learn the skills. They can help you learn how to do the thing that you're trying to do. Very important. So I've had this idea or this thought process about relationships and about other things in my life. So when we are looking to other people to be our advisors, very important to look to the right people, right? So do you want to have a relationship or a person in your relationships role? Like, do you want to go to the person for advice? There it is. Do you want to go to the person for advice about relationships who hasn't lasted more than 6 months in any relationship in their life? Or do you want to go to the person who has been married for a long time or in relationship for a long time and both partners seem happy, they seem fulfilled, they seem excited to see each other still? Go to the people that have the thing that you want in your business, in your fitness, in your lifestyle, in any area of life. Incorporate those people who already have the thing that you would like to have. Look for people who will challenge you to become more or better and who are willing and able to offer you guidance and support. That's the key, guys. That's the key. That's the thing that you want to look for in your tribe members. All of that stuff that we've talked about today. So I've got one more quote. I'm getting they're going to pull us off in any second now. So our last quote, the one that I want to leave you with, says, "Great things are brought about and burdens are lightened through the efforts of many hands anxiously engaged in a good cause." This is from Elder M. Russell Ballard. Now I'm guessing that might be something associated with a church. I have no idea. But I love that. I just love the words. So that's it. That's what I've got for you today. We will be back next Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central, 11 Mountain Time, and 10 Pacific. Next week's show is called Creating Ease, Decision versus Choice. And we'll be talking about how shifting from making decisions to making choices can create more ease and joy in your life. And who doesn't want more ease and more joy? Who doesn't want that, right? I'm in. I am so in on that. So don't forget to go to phoenixcoach.ca to download your free copy of 3 Easy Ways to Reset Your Subliminal Soundtrack. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you being with me. This has been Time to Rise and Thrive on Inspired Choices Network. I am your host, Jackie Mott of Phoenix Coaching in London, Ontario. And we will see you next Friday. I really hope you can join us. Until then, remember, it's time to rise and thrive. Oh, there we go.
Thank you for joining us for Time to Rise and Thrive radio show. Jackie Mott will return next Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 noon Central, 11 a.m. Mountain, and 10 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Have a fantastic week, and remember, it's your time to rise and thrive.